Welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, a virtual firehouse kitchen table with Matt, Adam, Brian, Doug, and Freddie, where they discuss everything that matters in today's fire service. Now let's get to the show.
And now I'm here. When we went to the pool, that doesn't matter because I fucking love you guys. I fucking love you guys.
We love you too. That's a heck of a way to start a show. But you know what? Facts aren't fair. We love you too.
Hey, liars figure and figures lie. Welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, brought to you by Unkie Seasoning, and we will have a burn box segment tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot wait for the burn box this week. Or is it coming this week? I think it's going to come this week.
I think it'll be here this week. Yes.
Dude, I am so stoked. I couldn't be more stoked. I'm not even joking about that. I'm very excited about it.
Teaser alert. What's in the box? What's in the box? Does anybody know what's in the box?
I don't know.
Got an East Coast Kelly recipe.
Wait, did you already get yours?
No.
Or is that an old one?
That was last month.
I don't think your microphones work.
If you're listening, you need to go to YouTube and watch just what Adam did. That's all there is to it. Stop and go watch it because that was classic. Lee, if you're listening, you got to go watch it on YouTube. I just got to say. That was good.
Shit.
That's what's in the box.
I'm in rare form, but I think that was pretty funny.
That was hilarious. I feel like is my mic really hot?
Yours is good, but for whatever reason, Adam is. It sounds like
How about now? Now?
It just sounds like you're on like a normal microphone,
like your cell phone speakerphone.
Oh,
that was classic. But anyways, the burn box, there's a recipe inside from yours truly, East Coast Kelly's, 2 months in a row. Super stoked about that. And, it's pretty awesome to have that. And if you are listening, obviously you're a subscriber to the Cool Fireman Podcast. But if you're not, and you're a first time listener, be sure to subscribe whatever platform you're on, because that is a great way to show some love. And then just do us a little favor and hit the like and a comment. We're going to ask you at some point in this episode to give a comment or just, basically give us some feedback. And so, yeah, do that.
Dude, our main man, Ricky
Bird,
comments.
Yeah, loving it. Shout out to him. We bought some raffle tickets for him.
Heck yeah, Rick. Dude, we're going to win a bat. We're going to win a bat. If you don't follow Ricky Bird on Facebook, I don't know if he wants everybody following him, but
I love that shit. His wife's going to be like, why do you keep getting all these alerts from these women?
Hey, but buy raffle tickets. You can win it's for a women's softball bat, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Heck yeah.
We just wanted to show some love. Like, I didn't even look to see what it was for. It was like, it's for Ricky. I'll send some cash, whatever.
I'm going to bring it up right now because he commented on this last video. Let me interact. Not the last video, but the last podcast. What did he say? He said, oh my goodness. Yeah, definitely an early morning person. Oh, because we were talking about because we did the last podcast we did with Freddie. And he was asking us all those questions. And one of them was, do we stay up late at night or do we wake up early in the morning? And he said he's definitely an early person. Of course, I'd rather sleep in, but that's not how firefighters are wired.
I love it.
I wish I could. I wish that I was like that, Ricky. I just am not. I'm just not that guy. I've tried to be that guy my entire life, gents. I wish that I could wake up early. I love waking up early. I love like the cool, crisp air. I love the vision, the views of a sunrise. I just can't do it. I just love
you don't know what you're
sleep,
missing,
dude. I just love it. I would rather sleep till 8:30, 9 o'clock. I just would. I mean, I would stay.
You know what
up
I'd rather do? Take a nap during the sunlight hours and get both the sunrise and the sunset. There's something about it.
So you like your cake and you want to eat it too?
Deck on right.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Look, have you seen my waistline? Yes, I do. And I'll have a second slice, please. Thank you. Hey, I'm super stoked about our moment of silence. I want to dedicate it this week to Pender County Assistant Fire Marshal, who lost his son very tragically in an incident. And so my hearts and my prayers go out to them and their family. I saw an amazing outpouring of support from the fire service community here in Eastern North Carolina for that family. That young 7-year-old was an organ donor as a result of the tragedy, and he was able to give life through the tragic events. And so special shout out to them. I know all of us have kids at home, and just the sheer thought of that would be rough. But I watched a lot of duty boards put FM 3.5 on it. And so shout out to that family, and shout out to them, especially for that moment of silence for this week.
So
Let's
here
do
is.
it. All right. Good stuff.
Well said.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
Well said.
Hey, I'm going to kind of try to lead this week if we can.
Yes,
Do you
but
mind?
no,
Yes, but
I don't
yes,
mind
yes.
at all. But let's continue on our little
Must
housekeeping.
do's. Yeah,
Hey,
must do's.
don't forget Red Cross, June 30th. Don't forget, we do have a link, and we're going to throw it up on Instagram. I promise. I just have been, I mean, I haven't even thrown up a TikTok video probably in over a week. I just
You
have
and me
been
both.
so slammed, dude. I've been so slammed. But it's Wednesday. We're recording for Friday. So if you're listening to this, it's going to be Friday. It's obviously going to go up. But June 30th is going to be our Red Cross virtual Fill the Boot on TikTok. If we have time, we'll try to figure out a way to do it simultaneously on Instagram. But if you don't have TikTok, try to find a friend that does. And we will throw our link up so that you can give $1, $5, $10, $100, $500, $1,000, whatever you want to give. But we're looking to at least we want to raise $2,000. We raised $600 through Taylor's Tins for the First Responders Children's Foundation, which was amazing. It's part of our mission statement with this podcast. We want to give back. And we want to reach 2,000. And so my little thing is that if we get to $1,000 through the Red Cross, I'm going to shave my mustache. 2,000 is going to shave my head. And then Freddie wanted to get in on this.
Yeah, I think he said if we got 5,000, he was going to do the one chip challenge.
The one chip challenge. Okay, so we're gonna have the little Pacquiao chip or whatever it's called for him at $5,000, and we're gonna hit it. We're gonna hit 10,000. I can feel it. So if you want to give $1, $5, we would love you. It goes towards the Red Cross, and we've already talked, a lot about Red Cross and what they do for our country. For first responders, and for not, they're just an amazing organization. They do get a lot of money from different places. They're good at that, but we're here to support them as well. So.
They do so much good. They just do so much good.
That's all I got. What do you got?
Okay, yeah. So right before you got on, because if you're not early, you're late. I'm just going to say that. But anyways, do you like that little jab? I said that while you were drinking, so that way you couldn't say anything. But one of the things that we were discussing before you came on was Adam and I were just catching up. We haven't really, as you know, we're really good friends, and we catch up when and how we can. And so it's been a little bit, we've been a little bit of MIA to each other when it comes to accountability on things. So we decided to jump on early and just catch up. And it got me thinking, I'm 8 hours. I'm administrative Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and nights, weekends, on call, stuff like that. And one of the things that I wanted to do was it took me back to a conversation that I had with a station captain about roles. And you and I had a conversation recently, Matt. We've got a speaking gig coming up. You're going to be coming to North Carolina. We've got a fire department locked in. And by the way, if you're listening and you're interested in possibly having us come and talk about culture and change and things like that, by all means, reach out to us. That's something new that we're diving into. But as I was looking and building this lesson plan for this organization, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was, number one is us armchair quarterbacking and really diving into something that we've never done, right? Like we will sit around the firehouse and we will listen to a call pop off and we will run it from our firehouse kitchen table and have no clue what is happening. So what I really wanted us to do tonight, a small group nonetheless, but us, is really say if we could switch with one place in the organization for a day, what would it be? Because what I was doing was that right before I jumped on too, in addition to talking to Adam, was why I watched where a department in Louisiana allowed a child, or not really a child, it was an adult, but a young man with Down syndrome be the chief for the day. And the first thing he did was he signed it to where everybody could work 410s. So what I want to know is if you could switch, and this is what I want you to do. We said we're going to ask you to drop a comment. Drop a comment. Let us know if you could switch and be one role in the department that you've never been before. What would it be and why? And I think that that's a good one. We're looking to do a shorter podcast tonight, record a couple. And so that's what I want it to be. I just want us to have that dialogue and maybe just kind of go that route. So who wants to kick that one off? Matt was like, you, of all the questions to ask, what role would you
can
want?
of worms.
Yeah, that's the point, right? Like these types of conversations are not easy.
What was that, Adam? Did you say you want to start?
Yeah, he's gonna.
I thought I heard you say something.
He's like, I got mic problems.
What?
Come on, Adam. You can do it. Oh, you got to be kidding. Do you want me to go first? I don't mind going first.
No, I'll go
Okay.
first.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Now we can hear
Go
him.
ahead.
Nope, you're going first. Nope. Nope.
All right. So, well, we got to simplify it. So, if I could switch roles with any position,
That you've never worked before.
never worked before. Oh, man.
There's not that many.
Yeah, but I want to be.
That you want to be.
Well, to punt this one, I'm going to say the retiree.
Hey, all right. Why is that? Don't.
I am ready.
I am ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the next chapter.
He's ready. Goodbye.
I'll think about it a little.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and so while folks are thinking about this, the reason why I go back to that armchair quarterbacking from the kitchen table is because a lot of times we'll critique somebody that's doing something that we have no clue because we've never done it. And so I'm not doing this to paint you into a corner. I'm really not. And I'm not even asking you to do this to say, I don't like the way this person does it in my organization, because I'm sure people in your organization listen. I'm going to say what I want. Well, I'm going to let you to answer yours, and then I'll give mine, Matt.
Okay. All right. I'll start with this. Brian,
Yes.
just when I think that you can't surprise me or amaze me.
You changed my name, by the way.
That wasn't me.
Thank you, Adam.
Dude, that is a great question. That is a really good question. And you know what the cool thing is that I don't feel afraid to answer it and be very honest. And maybe I should be, to be honest with you, because what I would want to switch with for a day, is that what it is for a day, right?
Yeah, just a day.
I would like to sit in my battalion chief position for a day, or I mean, I'd love to sit in the fire chief position for a day too, and just kind of just see what it is, because you sit here and you talk about, and all the firemen listening to this shit can absolutely relate to this. You're sitting at the coffee table. God dang, this guy promotes to chief, and I've said this myself, and I have a battalion chief that will most likely be listening to this podcast. In fact, I'm going to send it to him just because I think
because Brian pulled this out of his backside.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit here and like talk him up or anything, but he's an amazing guy, and he has the attitude or the personality that can kind of play along. Let's just say, right?
I got you.
But I've been at the coffee table, and I've said, these guys, they promote to chief, and the disconnect, and I truly mean it. I truly mean the fact that the disconnect from being a captain, being in charge of an engine crew, and then promoting to chief, the amount of time that it takes to disconnect and forget what it's like to be on a fire engine on a 24-hour shift, on a A, B, C shift, whatever, platoon, whatever you want to call it, is astoundingly fast. How fast that is, the disconnect. What it's like to forget that we have 12 to 2. It's important. It's important. It's important. I'm sorry. I will say this until the end of my career. And maybe it's going to happen to me. I have aspirations to become a battalion chief in my organization. 100%. I'm going to start doing my battalion chief, classes here in the next few years, whatever. I'm totally enjoying the captain's position. 100 million percent. I love my crew. And, so we'll see what happens. But I'm just saying it's amazing, like how fast that time between 12 and 2, you get a phone call at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's like, what do we say when we're in we call it a brown chair. You guys call it something else, whatever, the blue chair, whatever it is, the recliner. And the phone rings at 1 o'clock. It's like, what time do you take a nap? What time do you eat lunch? What time do you run calls? And this is the fire service. Like, this is the culture of the fire service. And I think that it's important. Now, are there things that interrupt it? Absolutely. You got to get your work done. Like, there's calls that happen. There's a lot of days that we don't get downtime. But on my crew, it's planned, it's scheduled. Like, we're going to do our training. We're going to get our shit done in the morning. And then we're going to, try to have lunch around 11:30 noon. And then we have a little bit of downtime. And then we're going to start inspections. We're going to do more training after 2 o'clock. That's our deal. But it's amazing that when you promote, how fast you forget that you were on an engine for 15 to 20 years. And all of a sudden it's 1 o'clock and you're going to make a phone call to a firehouse. It's just funny. Like, and I hope that, and I'm going to call him out, Chief Hill. I'll send this to him. I hope that he thinks it's funny, and I think he will. I think he will. But it's amazing dialogue to have between the three of us, and he's admitted that. It's like, you have your podcast, and it's like, this is how we talk about things, So, anyways, so I would love to sit in that position and understand, because it's not just Chief L, it's not just Chief A, Chief Z, Chief X. It's not. It's all of them. But it's a position, and they got to get their shit done. And shit rolls downhill. And I'm very aware of that. But it's not a bad thing, but it is also something to be aware of. And so I would love to see it. If I was to go fire chief level, I would just plain like to see that for a day. Like, you're shaking hands, kissing babies. That's 100% true. Hey, where are we at with grants? Hey, like the big picture stuff. I'm talking not 50,000. Because we have a deputy chief now that the 50,000 level is able to handle, but our fire chief, I would expect, is at the 100,000. They're flying high, man. They're the radar for the freaking troops down below. They're flying radar. Like, they're just like, they got the big picture of where the department's going to be in 10 years. As a fire captain,
you hope they're thinking that way.
I would, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, down on the ground, we're running calls. We're boots on the ground. It's hard to see you try on a call to, whatever it is. It could be an easy, some old lady fell and hurt her ankle. You'd hope that the fire captain could be at 10,000 feet. But when you're talking about like fire department operations and the future of the department, hope that the fire captains can kind of dial it back to 20,000, 30,000 feet. And then after that, the battalion chief should be a little bit higher than that, but, strategic plans, like where are we at with that? And how are we hitting our goals? Are we not? What do we got to do to hit them? So I'd love to see that. I mean, it would give a good perspective. And this is the last thing I'm going to say, because I know I'm boring you guys.
You're not boring.
This is the last thing I'm going to say. It is 100% true. Is since day one, I became a firefighter. Since the day that I started training to be an engineer, which is our next level, is our second in command, let's just say, it made me a better firefighter. And when I became an engineer and started training to become a captain, it made me a much better engineer, because I could anticipate. I knew what the fire captain was kind of looking for. Hey, what they were looking at. I'm not at 10,000. I'm at 50,000, whatever. And so I started kind of understanding, like, looking down. And now I would love to kind of just see for a day what the fire chief's looking at. It's like, oh, damn, dude, that's like above the blimp, Yeah. And it's like, just for a day, just kind of sit there and be like, wow. Like this.
Would you like? So let me ask that question. Let me tag off that. Would you like to be able to make a decision?
Absolutely. Heck yeah.
Okay. First decision is you've got an employee that's got 3 write-ups, and you need to know how to discipline them.
Sure.
You have 3 write-ups.
Well, that's easy. I mean, you just go through your disciplinary progressionary actions. I mean, it's just, like, has he been?
It's easy. It's
Yes.
easy.
It's not.
The action says he's fired, and he's got 4 kids. Is that easy?
It's not easy, no. But
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
hey, wait. Let me hold on, because just because you said that, I gotta interject.
Okay.
I've told my guys since day one, they write their own evaluations.
100%.
I do not write your evaluations.
Sure.
You write your own evaluations. And so whatever your evaluation says is going to be a clear understanding, a clear depiction of what you gave me to write in the last year. Did you do a class for the department? Did you, how many classes did you take? Are you starting to take your AA classes or your bachelor's degree? Did you show up to non-mandatory things to make yourself better in the fire service? Or are you just that average employee, which is totally fine, right? Like, we have standards in our.
But is it fine?
Absolutely. If you want to be a standard firefighter, then you're going to get a standard evaluation, which is okay. It's okay. We have standard firefighters, but in order for our department to be great, we need those guys that go above and beyond. And there always will be, in my opinion, Brian, I think that there's always going to be women and men in an organization that want the department to be better. And they're going to do extra above and beyond stuff. I've seen it. I work for a 37 firefighter on the ground, boots on the ground department. I mean, without the chiefs, right? Just the rank and file. That's not that many people, but there are a lot that give their heart and soul. There are also guys that come to work and show up at 6:58 and they leave at 7:01. I get it. It is what it is. It's in every organization. It doesn't matter if you're a firefighter, an engineer, if you work for Apple or Exxon. It is what it is. We are human beings. It's like, you got to look at it like that. You can't look down on the guy that just wants to meet standards. Fuck no. Sorry.
Well, I don't think you can say you can look down at him, but I do think, and I want us to stay on the topic, because God knows we said it's going to be a short podcast, and it'll end up into a long one like normal. But what I would say is, I think you're 100% spot on. And I was not trying to trip you up about that hard decision, because let me tell you the reason why I say this is because a lot of times when the fire chief, like you said, the disconnect is they sometimes forget. I sometimes forget, wearing those extra bugles, the hard decisions that are made at that company level every day, right? How hard was it to take it from a verbal to a written to get it to that point, right? I get it. I mean, I get it, but sometimes it's easy to forget, because you're the one that has to make that end decision. And so I bring this up so that way there is transparency, so that way we understand that there'll always be 3s, but it's okay to not be satisfied with that, right? That's the beauty of that continuous improvement. If you have a firefighter that's in your station as a 3 every day on a scale of 1 to 5, they meet expectations. They're the 658 and the 701. That's what it is. But what are you doing to try to motivate them? What are you doing to be above that? Because if not, you're at their level of a 3, because you've accepted it. And so if you have that expectation of that chief to let that person go, then, and if he doesn't and he just moves the problem, then he's just being a 3 like every other mediocre chief, right?
Okay.
So I guess that's what I'm looking at it from a perspective of.
You're not going to fire a 3.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
And nor are you going to be a 4 or a 5 captain when you were a 3 firefighter. Sorry.
No doubt.
Not going to happen.
But they promote 3s every day.
Oh, of course. Well, sometimes they have to.
Well, I'll say this. I've had several instances where I've had people look at me and said, well, you have a vacancy. And I said, well, I don't need to promote. Right? I would rather, if I was the fire chief, I would rather a dang good lieutenant who needs a little more time. I'd rather pay him up for that time and allow him or her to be ready to be a captain than promote them too early. That's me speaking. And I don't know. Maybe I'm the minority in that mindset, but I'm not going to promote someone just because I have a vacancy.
It's a tough one. That's circumstantial.
That's a hard decision. So like when you said, I'd like to be in that fire chief, that's one of those hard things. Do you take the person that's mediocre and say, I guess I could kind of invest more time in them. But then you go back and you say, what does that say to the rest of the organization? Because they know better than me as the fire chief that person was mediocre at best. So what does it say? Let's all be 3s. That's not okay.
Dude, oh my God, there's so much that we can go into it. I want to listen to what Adam has to say, but I know we've completely commandeered this podcast. But
well, that's the reason why I decided to ask this question.
And the whole, and it's a great topic. It's a great, awesome topic.
So that's what we can do part 2 on it. We can answer the questions and then go to part 2, because I have a part 2 of the question that I was hoping we would get to.
All right, well, we're just going to do that then.
We can do that in part 2. But I rethought about it. My original plan, if I stay with the city, I wanted to be a deputy fire marshal, because they get, hey, not to kiss your butt, because they got a gun.
Okay.
I get to run around and play cop.
Well, just so you know, here we don't carry guns.
I was going to say, do you pack heat, Brian?
But in the city,
I wish
I wanted to.
That's
go.
the
not on duty. How about that? No. We're investigators. We don't carry them. There's different fire marshals who have different levels of certifications. State of Texas, almost all of them do. Different parts of Virginia do.
California.
Yeah, California does, but there's other states that does not.
They got PCA 32, which I'm very service level on this. We might have fire investigators from California listening to this going like, he's completely wrong. So just take what I say with a grain of salt. But our investigators are firemen that are on the floor, and they just take, an immense amount of classes to become a fire investigator within our organization.
Yeah.
It's a huge dedication, but yes, they do PCA 32. They're able to arrest. They wear they have a issued firearm, and when they come to a fire, they got a firearm on their hip.
We call that VLET here.
Being in California, is it a real gun?
No, when you hit the trigger, it goes pow.
It's a BB gun.
No. It
comes out.
It goes pew, 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 pew. Okay, so let me give my answer, and then we'll break, and then we'll come back for episode 2 in a week. Okay, so my answer was, I don't think I've ever given this roadmap. So I made it up to engineer, and then I went into the fire marshal's office. And so I never got to experience becoming a station captain. I've been the fire chief. I've been the fire marshal. I've done a lot of things, but I've never sat in that captain's seat on the truck. And a captain and I have had this conversation. I'm going to say on probably 2 times of my hands where I've gone into a station and I've had a captain who was like, I'll tell you what you need. And I went back and I said, do I tell you what you need? I don't think you need to tell me what I need. With all due respect, I need for you to understand that I've never sat where you've sat, and I'm man enough to say that, and you never sat where I've sat. So let's sit down and talk about it, right? But we've never done that for each other. And I think that was kind of a great way to segue into episode 2 and we'll dive into more of it here in just a second. But that was the whole intent, was to say part of this is because the reason why I asked this question was because as we go into this class, as we go into this lesson with these folks, is getting them to understand the perspective of sometimes we think we know an answer in and from a position which we've never looked from. And I think you gave a perfect segue into that of saying, I want to sit there so I can gain the perspective. And so I think that's a great stopping point, and then we can go into week 2. So shout out to everybody for doing that. So drop a comment, let us know, and then we'll read the comments for week 2 of if you could switch anywhere in the organization. And there's some people that have probably got like logistics officers, training officers. Maybe it's a medic. They would love to just see what it's like to do that type of work. Drop a comment. Let us know, where would you like to switch within the organization? And it could be that you are a fire chief and you'd like to be the city manager, or maybe you're a bat chief and you want to be the duty chief or the deputy chief or something like that. I think it would give us a good bit of perspective. Emergency manager, something like that. Just hit us up and let us know.
Amazing.
Does that sound good?
Great conversation. Hey, that was a great topic, Brian. Seriously, I really appreciate it. That was awesome.
Yes.
All right. So make sure you bookmark it. turn on the notifications. Come up back for week 2. We're going to dive into this in just a few. I say a few more minutes, but in a few more days.
Yeah, and if you're still with us and you haven't subscribed, please hit us up. The most important thing you can do for us is probably comment on YouTube, but become subscribers on Spotify and Apple Podcast and
whatever platform you're listening
and
to.
YouTube, whatever you listen to. So we super appreciate it. We're gonna if you don't subscribe to us on Instagram, please do now. We are going to be doing the American Red Cross. We're going to be doing the virtual Fill-A-Boot. We want to raise as much money as we can. We're going to put out that link. And also go to unkieseasoning.com and make sure that you get every single seasoning that he sells, because it is nothing short of phenomenal. Can you still get the Fire Marshal, the buttery rosemary? Okay, good.
Top seller. It's the top seller.
Dude, it is amazing. I mean, I'm a huge Elizabeth Salt fan, but that buttery rosemary is. Thank you. So go
my buddy Aaron, real quick, I'm going to say this. He got his bottle of his refill. I sent it in the group chat. He was an employee of mine. He literally says, I can bathe in this. Like, I love Elizabeth Salt so much, I would seriously bathe in it. He was the one who asked for it in like a 5-pound bag.
And they're all amazing in their own right, for their different applications. But for what I use, I usually do a lot of chicken and that buttery rosemary. And even on like pork, it's just so freaking good. So gosh darn.
What did I tell you I made the other night, Adam? I put savory garlic, buttery rosemary, and Elizabeth salt. It was on, what did I say that I did put that on? I think it was chicken. And it was,
seizure.
Yeah.
It was so
It gets fun
good
when you start mixing them up.
Oh,
together. It really does.
Oh,
Some great flavors.
All right.
All right. So come back. Great episode. We kept it right at 30 minutes, maybe a little longer, but
we're doing part 2.
Part 2.
Roll
it, Gigi.